Well, look, something's got to give, but the short answer is Elon is stretched. And look, he's managing five companies. Who wouldn't be a little overstretched? But, well, the bears have been winning. Tesla down over 50% since February alone. Short sellers making $11.5 billion. If you look at the numbers and you just put the politics aside, Tesla this year will grow from 53.6 billion in 2021 to a number close to 84 billion this year. That's 55% revenue growth, 45% growth in vehicles. They're doing pretty darn well. But the real kicker is Tesla is posting 16% net margins, while GM and Ford are posting 5 and 6%.
In this video, as Elon Musk continues to fight an existential fire, Tesla stock gets absolutely destroyed, down over 6% today. That means the Tesla stock crash in 2022 alone, year-to-date Tesla stock now down 58%. And while you're crying, I'm buying. Speaking of crying, if you happen to do that regularly, when you hear opinions you don't like, ideas you don't like, your sphincter regularly contracts, tend to get butthurt about things, I highly recommend not signing up to my Patreon, because all 240 plus exclusive videos are probably going to make you butthurt at the very least, and maybe shed a few tears along the way. If you think you can handle it, however, I highly recommend joining with the card in the corner or the link at the pinned comment. A lot of the content over there is far too hot to handle, too spicy for YouTube. There's a bit of Tesla and a lot of other stuff that matters even more.
When and how does this get better for Tesla shareholders? Does he eventually have to give up the reins to that company, or does something get resolved at Twitter somehow?
Well, look, something's got to give, but the short answer is Elon is stretched. He's dealing with an implosion at Facebook. There are rumors about a CEO change at Tesla. And look, he's managing five companies. Who wouldn't be a little overstretched? But, well, the bears have been winning. Tesla down over 50% since February alone. Short sellers making $11.5 billion. If you look at the numbers and you just put the politics aside, Tesla this year will grow from 53.6 billion in 2021 to a number close to 84 billion this year. That's 55% revenue growth, 45% growth in vehicles. They're doing pretty darn well. But the real kicker is Tesla is posting 16% net margins, while GM and Ford are posting 5 and 6%.
Note, the distinction has been drawn between Tesla, the company, the numbers, industry-leading margins, insane growth, huge revenue growth in particular, versus the noise that has been artificially suppressing Tesla's stock price. It's quite amusing. I've seen the same scenario play out over and over and over in recent mainstream media discussions regarding Tesla. Anchor says, Tesla stock's down a lot. Guest says, yeah, but look at the fucking numbers. This is all noise. Over and over and over. And yes, for the record, won't surprise anybody, still buying with every spare cent. Literally.
So they have a lot of runway, a lot to like if you look at the numbers. And I think especially after the downdraft, they're going to be looking at a good 2023.
Yeah, so Steve, there's a lot to like about those numbers. And for now, at least, it still dominates the EV market. But looking forward at a time when competition is coming online, is this really the time for him to be this distracted, this stretched?
Well, the short answer to that is no. Focus is a key thing. And what he's got to realize is he has a permanent place in history for revolutionizing the global auto industry. He has almost single-handedly moved the world into an electric revolution in vehicles, which is good for the planet and good for the share price. But managing five companies at once is tough.
Now, I can't speak from personal experience, having never actually simultaneously managed five companies myself, but I think Steve may have a point. Probably isn't particularly easy, that's putting it rather lightly.
All of the things going on at Twitter are not helpful. I'm hoping he'll stay focused on making great cars, put the political intrigue aside. There's competition going in at a historic level. Volkswagen and the Chinese in particular are really going to stretch Tesla, and Tesla shareholders need every bit of his attention to help make sure that the company is successful with the Cybertruck rollout, bringing new products to market next year.
Steve, it seems to me, from where I sit, that Elon Musk is getting farther and farther away from that advice. I'll mention he just got booed at a Dave Chappelle show in San Francisco, I think last night. And that's only interesting to me because Dave Chappelle's crowd is a free speech crowd, right? I mean, if you're still going to Dave Chappelle shows after everything, and Elon Musk thinks that he's leaning into the free speech message, but the fact that he'd be booed for minutes on end there might suggest that he's miscalculating even, his brand strength among his core audience.
Just for the record, I highly recommend everyone watch the actual source material of Elon Musk briefly appearing on stage with Dave Chappelle. Elon has tweeted there was a big fight in the audience just before it came on stage. There were boos and cheers. A mixed reaction. Unsurprising. Now, keep in mind, this show was literally in woke fucking central San Francisco itself. Probably the most woke city on planet Earth. And when I say that, I mean that. Twitter headquarters, San Francisco. Airbnb headquarters, San Francisco. By the way, why am I calling it San Francisco? Well, I'm not doing that to refer to the huge amount of human fecal matter you'll find everywhere, although that would also be a fair reason. No, I'm saying this because San Francisco is turning to shit. I think San Francisco is a cool city. The city is cool. But the mind virus that has overtaken just about every inhabitant, not a big fan. We've seen that in 2022, year-to-date data showed over 99% of all political donations from Twitter employees before Elon took over went to Democrats. Over 99%. One more time, over 99%. It's to be expected if Elon appears in the audience at a comedy show. Remember, people didn't pay tickets to see Elon Musk, they paid tickets to see Dave Chappelle. Of course you're going to get a mixed reaction. Of course. And in San Francisco of all cities, come on. This is to be expected. This isn't Elon's crowd. This is an audience of people with nothing else to do in San Francisco that night, going and seeing a comedian, many of which they love, and others, Chappelle, he's in town, why not, let's go there. I'm not downplaying this. There's certainly a lot of people that didn't want Elon to be there, but this is a badge of honor. Getting booed in San Francisco means you're doing something right, in my opinion. You mad?
Does that mean that there's some risk eventually to how many Teslas he can sell, no matter how good the car is?
Look, I think there's no getting away from that. One of the things that Tesla's done just about better than anybody is created one of the most powerful brands in the world. They are the upstart competitor, the ones that took on GM and Ford and the Toyota and proved them wrong. Now, as he moves further and further into politics, I think it's hurting him and the brand. I hope he gets back to focusing on great vehicles. He's doing that better than anyone. And this is the key time, because one of the things you didn't talk about is we're heading toward what is, for many, the most important smackdown in the global transportation industry, and that is who owns the short-haul trucking market. As you know, Ford F-150, biggest selling vehicle in America for over 40 years, electric or gas. But now Tesla's come on with a Cybertruck with a extraordinary 1.2 million unit backlog. If they're able to launch that in the scale that I think they will be in 2023, you'll start to see the first larger numbers come out in Q3, I believe. That is a game changer. That's why he's brought Tom Zhu in, the mastermind manufacturing genius from China. And think about this for a minute. The China facility in Shanghai producing 40% of all Tesla vehicles today. This is the guy who got the plant up and running in 13 months, 10 million square feet facility. If he can do what he did in the Austin plant, what he did in Shanghai, that'll be a game changer for Tesla. We'll see. I hope he dials the politics down.
Well, as they say, hope is not a strategy, and I can tell you for a fucking fact, Steve, he ain't going to be dialing the politics down, at least not until the fire's extinguished. If you're confused, watch yesterday's video. Understand, this is the single most important thing Elon is currently actively working on. What would be more important than a raging inferno that could destroy civilization? I know some Tesla stock investors don't like it, and hey, that's fine. I'm just telling you what you're in for. You can hope all you want. It's not going to change reality. This shit matters too much to Elon, and he ain't going to stop until the fire's out, or he's died trying.
Yeah, well, China's a great point, especially since we're watching other mega cap companies like Apple try to diversify their supply chain. If, in fact, there's a market degradation in U.S.-China relations, how much vulnerability does Tesla carry, do you think?
Right now, a lot. Again, 40% of their vehicles coming from China. If there's any sort of hiccup in U.S.-China relations, Tesla is in a world of hurt. That's why they're moving quickly, looking at other markets. You've seen in the press, Canada, South Korea, Indonesia. I think it's highly likely Tesla will break ground in at least one, if not two of those places. So they want to diversify like everybody else in the world. It's going to be fascinating.
Call me crazy, but I don't personally believe the biggest risk with Tesla in China has anything to do with US-China relations. Instead, it has everything to do with the insane, futile, fascist, inhumane Chinese Communist Party. Should they forcibly close Tesla's factory in Shanghai? Not a lot of recourse. It's already happened once or twice. But as I've said, over the longer term, the China factory is irrelevant. Now, don't get me wrong, it's useful, but if Tesla's China factory literally disappeared tomorrow, they could build a new factory somewhere nearby elsewhere in Asia within 18 months. Start ramping up, 24, 36 months from now, they'd be back to the same volume of production in Asia, simultaneously having massively ramped up production in Berlin and Austin and continue to eke out more capacity at Fremont. If Tesla's only factory were in China and no others were under construction or ramping up, it would be a different story. And don't get me wrong, as I said, it's very nice to have the China factory. But even in the worst case scenario, like literally, if the whole factory is shut down and can never produce another vehicle ever again, Tesla will still be fine. Not that I'm suggesting that's going to happen.
The first of 2022's trending tickers, Jared.
Yes, well, I decided to put on my party hat here, and you can see our top 10 trending tickers. There's a story behind all of these, but at the very forefront of this list is number one, Tesla. Is this any surprise? This just has been the perennial ticker. You combine that with what's happened with Twitter, and we got a lot to get into the rest of this week. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about some of the indices, but I wanted to chart Tesla. Now, this is a year-to-date chart. You can see it's down, been cut in half this year. Its peak was actually a month or two before this in November of last year, but I pulled a number of tweets. And the thing is, the Tesla story doesn't really start coming into its own until you start getting into that Twitter purchase. And here's the definitive one. This came from Elon Musk on October 27th. The bird is freed. However, we do know that this was...
I personally do believe that the Twitter deal has impacted Tesla stock, not the company, but Tesla stock. Now, the exception there, of course, 0.01% of humanity who are desperate for the approval of other human beings, publicly claiming I'm cancelled my Tesla order. I was going to be a customer, but I can't because Elon's evil. I'm going to buy a Mach-E instead. This very vocal minority are giving the impression that the Twitter deal is meaningfully harming Tesla's business. It ain't. However, I do believe it's impacted the stock. But at the same time, I just want to make a few adjustments to the narrative that the Twitter deal has caused meaningful harm to Tesla stock. Did I just contradict myself? No, not really. Let me explain. Look on screen now. We're looking at Tesla stock over the last few months. Two icons there, the blue tweet icons, showing when the Twitter deal closed and what Tesla stock has done since. Call me crazy, but it seems that Tesla stock months earlier was already on its way down. If this chart didn't have labels on it, nobody would be able to point and say, oh, that's where the Twitter deal closed. If we go back further and look over the last 1 year, give or take, the same is true. Can you see exactly on the chart where the Twitter deal closed? Not unless you reference the closing date. There have been a number of factors in the wider, broader marketplace, macroeconomic factors, rising interest rates, recession fears, legitimate, I should add, insane amounts of inflation, supply chain bottlenecks, logistics challenges, the whole war in Ukraine, the whole market panicking its way out of growth stocks. The point here is while we can often suggest potential reasons why a stock's doing something, the cause-effect relationship is murky at best. What I can say with a high level of confidence is Tesla stock in the last 12 months has not behaved in a way that is at all attached to reality, in my opinion.
Expensive for Tesla in order for Elon to purchase that $40 billion plus purchase price. He had to sell a lot of Tesla stock. And that's when we got some of this negative price action in here. And we started seeing some of these stories develop. Here's one from Bloomberg. Musk sells another batch of Tesla shares despite vowing to stop. Billionaire unloads $4 billion more worth of EV maker stock. Latest move brings total sold to $36 billion in the past year. And I could go on and on with these tweets. I got a couple more. Musk complains of too much work after taking over Twitter. Comments reinforce what Tesla investors have feared for months, that the car maker's shares have almost halved since early April, and that's because Musk may have too much on his plate here. I will say this, he's looking into further financing some of the debt of Twitter and some of refinancing some of those sales through margin loans to Twitter, or margin loans to him through his Tesla stock. But he's saying when there are macroeconomic risks, it is generally wise to avoid using margin loans on any company, as stocks may move in ways that are decoupled from their long-term potential. Talking about specifically how much juice does Tesla stock have to produce more debt for Elon? Not as much as it did when it was trading over $400 per share. I think this is going to be a narrative for Musk and Twitter and Tesla in the new year to come.
Well, one thing's for sure, everyone is going to be talking about Elon Musk in 2023. Notice I said Elon Musk, not Tesla, not Twitter. Elon Musk. It's Elon Musk that gets the headlines. Unless, of course, Tesla issues recall, aka over-the-air software update. Otherwise, it's Elon Musk, Elon Musk, Elon Musk. The hate stream continues. Large portions of the mainstream media, the political left, Hollywood celebs, and academia, with a huge target on Elon Musk's back. You better believe the amount of hate, negativity, lies, misinformation, like actual misinformation, not facts that we don't like, actual misinformation. You cannot imagine this tsunami of toxic negativity that will be coming Elon's way. in 2023. Brace for impact. By the way, in fact, this reminds me of a hilarious sign I saw in Peru while I was traveling. I mean, is it just me? Is this not one of the most hilarious signs you'll ever see? Oh, a tsunami's coming. Better climb up the stairs and get away from this gigantic wave.
What's really interesting about Tesla too, and it's the drama like obviously Tesla is very broadly held by people who have been checking it on our platform, but there's also a lot to talk about, to your point with Tesla and all of that news flow. And by the way, it's not just about Twitter, of course. It's also, there have been reports about troubles in China in terms of production and demand for Tesla. There's a lot more competition for Tesla than there's ever been.
Arguably, that story has been hidden, has been masked a little bit because of all the attention on Twitter. But I think that's losing market share, going to be another potential story for investors to consider with Tesla in the new year.
Massive spoiler alert coming up, guys. Make sure you're ready. I'm going to spoil the entire decade. Ready? Tesla is going to lose market share every year, and that's not going to be a bad thing. But of course, the media, the short sellers, the Tesla bears will report it as bad and negative. We've covered this a million times. If Tesla was the only company making electric vehicles on Earth, their market share globally would be literally 100%. As soon as a single other company produces a single other electric vehicle on planet Earth, Tesla's market share has fallen. Yet Tesla could still be making more vehicles that month than they did the month prior, and that quarter than they did the quarter prior, and so on. So yes, Tesla will lose market share. Lots of market share, just about everywhere. At the same time, they will simultaneously be selling more electric vehicles per year, per month, per whatever, in every region than they ever have previously. Both of these two things can happen simultaneously, despite what the bears and short sellers will claim. Rarely a dull moment when it comes to all things Elon Musk. Tesla stock, justifiably so, the Yahoo Finance top stock ticker of 2022. In fact, since it's so popular, I reckon a few people should probably start YouTube channels and Twitter accounts discussing nothing but Tesla stock. They'd probably do alright. Seems to be an audience out there. Steve Wesley, ex-Tesla board member, pointing out the obvious, Elon is quite distracted at the moment, but again, redirecting the conversation to the things that actually matter. The numbers, Tesla's execution, something many emotional investors seem to have forgotten. And speaking of things that matter, in fact, speaking of things that matter, that's exactly what I do over at Patreon. As I mentioned, there's a little bit of Tesla content there and a load of other things as well. Everything from health, nutrition, energy, the deep dark rabbit hole that we're seeing exposed in real time. Thanks, Elon. Lots of hot topics, many too spicy for YouTube. All things that I believe really matter, hence they're worth discussing. If you're not already a member on Patreon, you can put yourself out of your misery now by joining with the card in the corner or the link in the pinned comment. I'll see you over there. I love ya.